Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And once again, we have another senior MSP for the SNP party who is incapable of answering a series of questions, or indeed of answering one question asked multiple times. She kept shifting the focus, moving away, trying to deflect. It's the standard ploy of someone who really doesn't want to speak the truth. And so rather than lying, they say something else. They answer a different question, or they try to deflect, or try to talk so much as to time out the interviewer. Well, it won't work, because this woman is quite clearly hiding something. She knows what the answer is, and she dare not say it. But it is just another example of why the SNP cannot be trusted. They cannot answer questions, because they know that the people out there don't like the answers. Have a look at this article and see what the hell is going on with Shirley-Anne Somerville. Right, so here she is. This is Shirley-Anne Somerville, and she was mocked after refusing to answer a question 4 times on the gender reform legal advice. This is something we've touched on before. They're not releasing the legal advice, and we all know why. If the legal advice was, yes, you have a strong case, you don't doubt for one moment that would be plastered everywhere. But the fact that they're not doing that indicates that that is not the answer that they were given when they asked, and they were told no chance whatsoever. They are ashamed of it, but they're still proceeding with the case. But we're getting new Social Justice Secretary was asked repeatedly by the Channel 4 reporter Kieran Jenkins about the legal advice for the Scottish Government's court battle with Westminster, but she repeated the same lines. They were the ones she was told to say. She was not to veer off track. She was not under any circumstances to speak the truth. And of course, being the Social Justice Secretary, this is entirely her bailiwick. She would know. If she doesn't know, then she's not doing her job, and she should resign, because she's not being given the information that she needs to do her job. And if she's not answering, it's because she doesn't know. Or it's because she's lying, in which case we do not want a liar in that position of authority. So which is it? Is she incapable of doing her job, or is she a liar? I'll let you decide. Let me know in the comments. The SNP in charge of pushing forward with the controversial gender reform legislations has been mocked after refusing to answer the same question on legal advice 4 times. Shirley-Anne Somerville, who was appointed as Social Justice Secretary by Hamza Yousaf, was sent out to do TV interviews on Wednesday evening to defend her government's challenging Westminster in court. The new First Minister had previously claimed that he would only be going ahead with the costly legal action if the legal advice had said he had a chance to win. And undoubtedly they don't, or he would have published that legal advice. The fact that they haven't just tells you that they have got zero chance of winning. Everybody knows that. You're getting High Court judges saying that the case is thin, and that no way on earth can this man possibly win the case. But the new First Minister... getting back to it, Mr Yousaf then announced on Wednesday that his administration would be launching a judicial review against the UK's government's use of Section 35 to block the legislation. But he has refused to publish how much this will cost the taxpayers until after the case ends. This was my video earlier, which could take longer than 18 months, depending on appeals, and also to publish the legal advice which led him to this decision. Now, 18 months. These barristers charge £500 an hour at least, and this case is going to run for 18 months. This is going to be a huge amount of money. We are talking millions of pounds, millions, based on legal advice that he refuses to publish. Now, the majority of Scots are against the legislation, with them needing to fork out for the government to go ahead with the judicial review. And Miss Somerville was asked 4 times by Channel 4 journalist Kieran Jenkins to answer his simple question about whether the legal advice suggests they will win. But she instead gave the same scripted non-answer 4 times. She said, well, it's now, of course, going to be a matter for the courts, but of course, with any judicial review, the government will receive legal advice. The UK government will do the same. We are confident in the arguments that we will put forward in this case, and I think it is very important that we do. This isn't a place we wanted to be in. An exasperated Mr Jenkins interrupted to repeat his question again, and he said if and he said he didn't ask if she had legal advice. He asked if that legal advice said they could win in court. But Miss Somerville just parroted similar lines and refused to answer the question. She said, well, we're confident in the arguments that we will put forward in that, and I'm not going to be presumptuous about that as it goes through court. This is now a matter for the court to look at both sides of the argument and for the court to take that decision, and we need to respect that process. But of course, as we move forward to this step, the Scottish Government has given due consideration to the other alternatives to ensure we didn't get into the place of having a judicial review. Unfortunately, the UK government has left us with no alternative but to do so. This isn't a place we want to be in, she repeated. The journalist went in for a final bite of the cherry as he accused Miss Somerville of giving him the same answer again and studiously avoiding the actual question, which will cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands. It will cost taxpayers millions. Millions. This is an 18-month review process. This will cost millions. And he pleads with her again to give him a straight answer. But Miss Somerville just repeats the line about both government getting legal advice and how it is confident in the argument it's putting forward. They cannot answer. They dare not answer because they know that when it will be, and let me tell you, the legal advice will come out. And they will have been told that they cannot win the case. This woman is standing there and she cannot say that they'll win the case because they have not got that legal advice. That legal advice is quite definitely that they're going to lose. And yet she is standing there not answering that question because if she admitted that the legal advice was that they wouldn't win the case, then it's why the hell are you having the case? But this is pushing the can down the road because it will come out that they haven't got a case. And then millions will have been wanked away on fat cat lawyers and barristers on a case they couldn't win. And if they're told in advance that they have got very little chance of winning, that is criminal. That is a criminal waste. That is a misuse of public money. It is a criminal offence. And in which case, Humza Yousaf and her, as the minister responsible, need to stand in the dock and be prosecuted for it and be forced to repay every brass farthing of that bill. And then when they have to sell their houses, they have to sell all their possessions and have to go live on the street, they can then ask themselves if it was truly worth it or whether she should have at that point stopped fucking lying and told the truth. But they can't help themselves. They are a party riven with deceit, with secrecy and with absolute narcissistic liars everywhere. None of them can tell the truth. Tory MSP Jamie Halcrow-Johnson attacked the SNP minister on social media. He said, same simple question put 4 times, and 4 times the same scripted non-answer from the SNP. So is the legal advice they received that they'll win? We will never know because they won't release it. They never do, despite thousands of public money being at stake. But the SNP have given the game away in another interview today because it's clear they'll push ahead regardless of the legal advice. Basically, the SNP approach is damn the public and damn their money. We've got constitutional grievance to stir up and the civil war engulfing our party to deflect from. The public don't support this legal action, and I'd question whether an unwhipped Holyrood would either. And he's quite right. But the answer will come out. There will be information, freedom of information requests. They must release it. And as soon as they release it, they're dead in the water. They will never recover from that. That will be the biggest and grandest lie of all time. They will have broken the law. The First Minister will have actively participated in a crime while in office. That has got to be jailable, and he'll have to repay every single penny in costs. And I want to see it. I want to see him doing time in a prison, and I want to see his house being taken from him and sold. Everything he owns taken from him and sold. He will have a criminal record. He will be unemployable anywhere, and he will be out of office and sitting on the street begging. And I would love to see it because that is what he is doing. And he is not. And that money that could go to help other people, the NHS, children's homes, social care, anything other than giving fat cat wanker lawyers a slightly better fucking meal at lunchtime, because that's all this is. And the people of Scotland are paying for this shit, and they need to be up in arms and demand to see that legal advice. Anyway, I'm getting very angry about it, and I'm coming up. I honestly want to see politicians in the dock for the waste of public money. It will concentrate their minds. When they see one or two of them sitting there behind bars and having everything they owned stripped from them and sold to raise money to repay the money that they have wasted in public office, they will make far better decisions. They will stop doing stupid things that they have got no chance of winning. And I guarantee that legal advice was that you're gonna lose. And it will come out. They always do eventually, because the next party in power will just simply request to see that piece of advice, and it will have to be given. And then they will go, that's very interesting, and release it to the press. And then they will form a committee, and then maybe it's Labour in, maybe it's Tories. It doesn't matter who's in. It does not matter who is in. Whoever's in will immediately look at that, release it, and then say, right, bang, you taken to court. You have committed a crime in office, and have them do that. And the people of Scotland need to write to every one of their MPs, their MSPs, their councillors, everyone. Right. Request that information is released. And I hope the people in any by-election between now and the general election just support anyone other than the SNP and kick them all out and make Humza Yousaf be aware of how contemptuous he is. What a piece of absolute filth he is by wanking money away on fat cat lawyers that could have been spent elsewhere. And he's doing it because his own party is falling around because he is an inadequate little man in a very, very awful job. He cannot do that job. He knows it. We know it. Everybody knows it. And the SNP is about to die. And the sooner it goes, the better for everyone. Even the people who support the SNP will be better off when it's gone. Anyway, I'm finishing there before I get so angry I blow my top. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Do please subscribe. It makes us louder and it keeps us focused on these bastards. And do leave a comment and a like. That also really helps with the algorithm. And do share the video. And thank you very much for watching. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, write to these people, demand the truth, and goodbye.